6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're going live.
We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bob.
What's up, folks? We are live. Join me for these every Wednesday and Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. I might change the time. More on that later. But if you can't make it, that's what the replays are for. Before we get too far into this, let's start off with some housekeeping. Be sure to, let me get up here. Man, I'm never ready for this. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit those notifications. Please drop a comment either in the chat or, if you're watching the replay, drop a comment below. All that kind of stuff helps out in the algorithm. It shows that you're participating. This is not just the Paul show. It's the audience show as well. Okay. If you have a specific question, head on over to YouTube and try to send it as a super chat. That way, I'll see it. I don't always see these chats as they come up. The super chats get highlighted and I get to see those a lot better. If you are watching on Twitter or Facebook, head on over to YouTube. On Facebook, I dropped a link to the YouTube so that you could actually click on that and just come on over here. And then again, super chats are sort of preferred. Follow me on social media. I'm either Come On Man Pod or at Come On Man Podcast, pretty much wherever you're looking, but I'm trying to build my Instagram account now. So follow me on Instagram. Let's see here. If you like my content, please consider joining the Patreon, patreon.com/comeonmanpod. You can join for as little as $10. And with that, on Monday's episodes, you get added to the beer credits at the end, and you get all of the main podcast episodes ad free. It's just the interview portion. So, get on that. It's only $10 a month. And then also if you need help with dating or whatever else it is that you're working on, you can join one of the upper tiers as well. All right. And then get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com, and I will send you some cool stickers, postage paid, free of charge. I just what I'm trying to do is, make it so that if I ever get deplatformed again, then I can reach out to you and tell you where you can find me. So get on the email list. I'm not spamming people. And then finally, check out my new Practical Law of Attraction course. It's chick crack free. I take out all the magical thinking. There's no crystals. There's no magic 8 balls. All right. It's really a course on mindset. And speaking of that, let me play this commercial and then we'll get started with the topic of the day. What if I told you you can have anything you want? More money, a bigger house, hotter women. Would you believe me? If your answer is no, you need to ask yourself why you think that way. What's holding you back? I can tell you right now, it's a self-limiting belief that's holding you back. Your paradigm or the way you see the world is holding you back. What if I told you that I can teach you how to change your paradigm? I just finished my course on the Practical Law of Attraction. You may have heard of the Law of Attraction, but have dismissed it as magical thinking or woo-woo nonsense. Well, it's not. The Law of Attraction is real, but it's not magic. At the end of the day, it comes down to your mindset. And my course will teach you how to reprogram your mindset so that you can achieve anything that you want in this world. And the first 50 people that use the coupon code in the description will get 15% off. If you want more out of this life, if you want to achieve bigger goals, if you want to achieve goals so big that they will blow your mind, then this is your sign. Sign up for my course at loa.comeonmanpod.com. That's loa.comeonmanpod.com. The law of attraction is nothing without action. So what are you waiting for? Act now. All right. The last time I checked, there was only 14 spots left with that coupon code. So if you haven't signed up yet, but have been thinking about doing it, do it now before the 50% code in the description stops working. All right. Joining me today is my 3% brother. Let me unmute you there. It's my 3% brother, Professor Sanderson. I believe the last time you were on was to talk about frame.
Yeah.
How have you been doing since then, man?
Yeah, all good, bro. All good.
Lots of stuff's been happening. I'm still a professor, senior professor now. Woo, well, senior lecturer. But yeah,
Would you look at that?
I know, right? I know, but we'll stick with professor, shall we? It's got a better ring to it, or something like that. So yeah, things are all good, man. Got my own house now, nice and settled. Growing up a bit. 33 now, so I'm in my prime, so they say.
Oh wow, 33, dude. I'm 10 years older than you, man.
10 years. Well, if I look like you in 10 years, I'm happy, mate. You know.
Hey, all right. Thanks, man. Speaking of frame, I'm just gonna give a free plug to my friend Ryan Stone. He just wrote a new book, a whole entire book on frame. Yeah. So
Awesome.
I just got that, so now I'm gonna learn how to, maintain that strong masculine frame.
Yeah, perfect.
Be good.
That's what it's all about.
Ryan's not giving me any kickbacks for this, guys. Just FYI. He probably doesn't like that I'm even fluffing him right now about it, but that's okay. He's a good dude. Yeah. All right, so we are going to talk about how the powers that be might be actively trying to destroy relationships. Right now, when we were talking about this leading up, were you envisioning like they're destroying marriage, like marriage specifically, or just long-term relationships in general?
I think long-term relationships in general, Paul. And do you know what? I'd go as far to say as the powers that be want to depopulate the planet. That's how far I think it's going.
Oh, wow.
I think it's that big. Yeah.
You think it's a depopulation thing?
Yeah. Big time.
Okay.
Yeah. In a nutshell, right? I think that since World War II, they noticed the birth rate being really high. They noticed us booming. All right. Boomers. So they say they had to look at all of the resources, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, right, we can't carry on like this. No way. Everything's becoming unsustainable. Food's going to become too expensive. The cost of living's becoming too expensive. Everyone talks about this constantly. And conveniently, amongst all of that in the last kind of century, have a look at what's happened. We've encouraged women to stay in the workplace way past, their prime fertility years. We've pushed them on that front. I'm not saying I'm necessarily against it, but the fact of the matter is we have done that. Okay. Women are having children much later. All right. The children that they have, if they do have any, more likely to be born with defects, and the children that are born with defects grow up into adults that are then less likely to go on and have kids of their own. All right. We've encouraged and pushed homosexuality. We've known about it for God knows how long. All right. I mean, the ancient Romans and Greeks were cool with it. All right. But, somehow
it's always been there. It's always been there, but they're like actively promoting it now.
Yes, they're actively promoting it. And I've got nothing against homosexuality. Once again, I was best man at a gay wedding. I'm 100% for it. The fact of the matter is, look.
You do you, man. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But they are pushing this more. And now the whole multi-gender thing and that we're all the same, blah, blah. Guess what? People who identify as a cactus, identify as non-binary, blah, blah, blah. Are these people likely to go on and have children? No, they are not. They're way less likely. They try to convince the stereotypical male, the stereotypical female that you are the same. All right. They encourage women to be masculine because they know that masculine men aren't really attracted to masculine women. And they know that feminine women aren't really attracted to feminine men. All right. So everything that they've got is trying to push us away.
It's funny. So when I was looking up, that's because I never really thought of it so much as a conspiracy until you brought it up. And I was like, well, what's the conspiracy? So I have a slightly different take on it than a depopulation, but we can get into that a little bit later. So why is this important? I think a lot of these topics are pretty important topics in general, but why do you think it's important that we bring this up and try to think of why we need to try to, I don't know, save the save relationships?
Save the relationship, save the world, man. We're saving the world.
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yeah, I know, right? One thing at a time. I think it's vital too, because I think that deep down in God's honest truth, or whatever you believe in, most people have grown up dreaming of spending their life happily with a significant other that they can look at, they can feel attracted to on a daily basis, that they can 100% trust, that they feel the natural desire to be around and look after and build a family with. That's one of the most beautiful things of nature and life. And I think that the vast majority of people desire that, and they desire that in a monogamous way. They don't want it with multiple people if they can help it. They don't. So I think it's in, I don't know, 99.9% of the world's population's best interests to save this.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and even it's funny too, because there's this concept that red pill guys are against monogamous relationships, right? There is a strong element in the sphere of guys that are pushing harems and having multiple women, or having side chicks and stuff like that, which I'm not gonna say guys shouldn't do any of that stuff. It's none of my business, but studies do show that societies that have monogamous relationships do better. If there's societies that have harems, or guys have multiple wives and stuff like that, I get apparently there's studies that show that there's a lot of tribalism and warfare in those types of societies. So the family unit actually makes people a little more, I guess, civilized, and we are better producers that way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure.
Allegedly. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have the numbers in front of me. So why are things the way they are with relationships today? One of the first things that I brought up was feminism has been really pushed. Ryan Stone, the guy who wrote this book, he says feminism isn't, like an ideology or whatever. It's a tactic. Yeah. And I think, there's a lot of things that have happened with feminism, right? And it's under the guise of equality, which sounds good, but really, it does mess with the family unit. It does mess with male and female's natural dynamic, sexual dynamics. One of the things that have come out of the whole feminism push is chemical birth control, right? There's a direct correlation with the rise of the use of birth control and the rise of divorce, and one of the reasons is, chemical birth control tricks women, into having their bodies think that they're pregnant. And when a woman's pregnant, she's really looking for the beta side of hypergamy. She's looking for comfort. She's looking for a guy that can help her raise the kids. And so these women get with a lot of these sort of beta provider guys. And then when they get off the chemical birth control, they have zero attraction with their partners, because they're like, why am I even with this guy? He doesn't even get me aroused, it's like, yeah, because you picked a beta guy to help that, because your body thought that you were pregnant, so you picked a beta guy. What do you think about that? The feminism and the chemical birth control being an issue?
So, let's start from the beginning of feminism, right? And I suppose by and large, people would arguably say that I am an original feminist.
Are you a male feminist?
Something like that. I stand for the equal opportunities of women. I don't stand for the equal outcomes. I'm gonna flip this question back on you, buddy. Okay. Do you believe that men and women are equal?
No, they're not equal. Okay. I will say though that if a woman really has the drive to be an oil rig worker, then she should have the opportunity to go out and do it, as long as she can physically do the job.
100% agree.
But I guarantee that most women are not vying for oil worker rig jobs, because that's not the real equality that they want.
No, they're not. And okay, so here's the first thing, right?
Okay.
Everyone knows, pretty damn certain odds are that men and women aren't equal. Chances are we're not.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, I'm following you.
Yeah, they do. Deep down, they do. Right. Well, who the hell has weighed up all of the variables and differences? Are me and you equal as men? There's a lot of variables and differences between us, man.
Sure.
Loads. It'd be impossible for us to measure it. Now,
How tall are you, man? You seem like you're like 6'5" or something.
no, I'm not 6'5". No,
Oh,
6
okay.
feet. 6 feet on a good day.
Yeah, you're already taller than me. Look at that. You hit I'm not even 6 feet tall, dude. I shouldn't even be talking on the internet right now.
Like I said, me just on a good day. Me on a
Yeah.
good day. 6 feet 220
Okay.
to convert it into American measurements. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, not all men are equal, and then you're going to bring a whole other sex into that as well.
Right.
There's a stupid amount of variables in there. Like no one's equal. So the only thing you can look at is reasonably equal opportunity. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you don't even truly have equal opportunity. One of you has to sacrifice your body for the better part of a year to keep the human race going. One of you doesn't. One of you, on average, will live significantly longer than the other. Who the hell can measure all of that? Okay, it's just to sound nice. We say that we're equal. So I mean, that's the first thing on that. The second thing is, the whole shift, within the last 100 years has been to get us to fight against primitively put in instinctive behavior. It's been to get us to fight against that. All right. They've been trying to do it through media. They've been trying to do it through equality in the workplace. I mean, you have people now who have jobs trying to promote equality in the workplace. All right. And they've come up with this wonderful idea that if you have a working environment that is 50% male and 50% female, somehow that'll make it better. Somehow, based on no real logic of how good those people are at their job, what their qualifications are, what, their whole background structure is, what their work ethic is, blah, blah, blah. No. If you've got a 50% workplace that's male and female, it's gonna be a better thing. It's gonna be a good thing. Says who? Yeah. Can you imagine if that happened in a hospital during COVID? If there's 50% male and 50% female, can you imagine that? Can you imagine
there'd be a little bit of a baby boom there, I think.
Well, it would be a bloody disaster. We all know it. Okay, so a lot of it's nonsense.
That reminds me, I can't remember where I saw it. There was like there's some kind of article about, I don't know, some astronauts, some kind of trip to Mars, maybe, I don't know, where they're trying to plan this, but they only want to send female astronauts because they don't want to put male and female on there because they don't want them getting pregnant in space because it's going to take like years to get there, and so they don't want them getting pregnant and having babies in space. So they're like, okay, well, then should we have men on there or should we have women? And it's like, oh, well, women don't care about sex as much as, like, I guess the theory. And so they're like, let's just make it all female crew. I'm like, that's never going to happen.
but see, once again, why is that? Because it's popular. It's a popular thing to push across to people and get them talking and really thinking about it, blah, blah. It's all to do with this representation thing. Everyone needs to be represented. Well, guess what? You can't represent everyone. Okay, me, for example, I've not met one other person like me in my 33 years in terms of genetics, in terms of what I am. All right, my mum's from Morocco, my dad's from Wales, and then everyone on my dad's side before my great grandfather, from what we can tell, was from Scandinavia. So I'm yet to meet someone who is exactly like me. I know that they're out there, but I don't feel the need to say, oh, I need to see more people like me here so I can feel represented. No, it's childish mentality. They want it, once again, that's another thing. They want to keep your mindset as juvenile as they can until you're past your fertility. They want to make you feel uneasy and not ready. They want to convince you that you've got 700 different mental health problems and whatnot, and that you're not in a good way, and that you need to go to all this counseling to make you better, blah, blah, blah.
And you need drugs. You need all these SSRI drugs.
Yeah, all that. Get that down, and you know why? Because they know it will keep you in this spot for longer, where you're not going to be competent and you're less likely to reproduce.
Okay? That's crazy. Yeah. Another thing I have written down here is single mother households. And this isn't really to just, bag on single mothers. I know there's a lot of guys in the red pill space that bag on single moms. I'm usually not someone that bags on single moms. Like, I love single moms, man. But there is a problem. There's an actual problem with single mother households. There's a whole book on it, right? It's written by a male feminist called Boy Crisis. And he lays out statistics and facts that show that since the rise of like divorce and all this stuff, that there's all these single mother households, how the school system is primarily taught by women. And so you have this like all these the several generations now of boys that their primary influence is their moms and female teachers. And so they're basically raised to think and act like effectively defective women,
Yeah.
and that's causing a lot of problems. So, um, have you read Boy Crisis, or at least,
No.
or at least
I've
heard of it?
heard of it. I've heard of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Um,
yeah,
we-
and so they're essentially raising these boys, they have mental issues for one. They're raised to be simps, so they don't know how to be attractive. They don't know how to even get dates. I mean, there's guys in the comments, and not to shit on anybody in the comments that's in this situation, but there's guys that have they're like 30-year-old virgins. They've never really been on a date. There I saw I was a guest on a female podcast. I can't remember which one because I've been like on a whirlwind tour lately. But what on one of them, someone commented they were 44. They had never had sex in their life, and I was just like, wow, like how do you get to a point where you're either too scared to even talk to women to get to that point, or you do try to talk to women and you just strike out so much because you just don't know what women respond to because you've been told your whole life, to put women on pedestals and whatever and treat them nice. And so that's a problem too. So you have this whole group of guys that don't even know how to relationship properly.
Yeah, man, 100%. And I'll go back to your first comment there because
Mhm.
I don't have a vendetta necessarily against single mums at all either. I think that for some guys, dating single mums can actually be a good option, and I'm sure me and you could talk at length on that.
Sure. Yeah, just to get it out of the way, like I think single dads, you know, single moms are a great option, especially if you,
Yep.
you have your kids full time for like a long period of time. Like single moms that also have the same schedule, they understand that better than women that don't. So that's just my personal opinion, but we'll go off. Yeah.
No, 100%. I would agree with that. And if you yourself, as a guy, know that you don't want to have kids as well, then they can actually be quite a good option on that front. I would also say if you're past maybe the age of 40 as well, they can be a reasonable option as well if they're in the same age bracket. Because guess what? If you're that age as a guy, you're probably not wanting to have kids anymore or any more kids.
Mhm.
So you dating someone maybe around that kind of age range, that ship's already sailed. You're not going to have to contest with that thing
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Most single moms aren't sitting there trying to, they don't have the baby rabies as bad as
No,
because like we talked about earlier, I'm in my 40s. I usually was dating girls in their early 30s. Girls in their early 30s, man, like they're dirty, dirty 30s is a thing. But everyone that I met that didn't have kids already totally had baby rabies. They were looking to lock a guy down and start a family because they partied away their 20s. And it's like, dude, I'm not that guy for you. I'm not starting from zero here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, not to get too far off on that, but
no. Of course, no. So yeah, I would say that, but I mean, at the same time, I would end the statement the other way. I would say that if you're a guy and you're kind of under the age of 40 maybe, and you still are kind of open to the idea of kids and whatnot, I do say that you should ideally date women that are actually under the age of 30, because you want to spend a good amount of time with them first to get to know them and then to have kids. You don't want to go with women who are like sort of 33, 34, 35, and then at the last minute they're kind of like desperate to have kids because you don't know if their judgment on you is going to be sound or if it's kind of their own selfish ambition. So yeah, there is that. Anyway, dude, I'll put that off to one side because that is a topic in itself. So we're talking about boys who are coming from these kind of single mum households. They haven't had a strong father figure. Yeah, for sure. The data on that is 100% clear. They are struggling. As someone who teaches in higher education, I can tell you now the amount of sub stories I've had come from these young guys who don't have a strong male figure in their life, it's incredible. And it's got to the point where they're kind of, oversharing stories with me. And I'm like, you're not going to tell me about this. I'm your, I'm your
TMI, bro.
Yeah, I'm your academic lecturer. Let's put that off to one side. My heart aches for you, but come on.
Yeah.
There's so many of them are lost, and they're much more lost than I find the girls to be. Simps are ruining it as well through TikTok and whatnot. And this whole apocalyptic thing, or conspiracy theory, whatever the hell you want to call it, that I'm talking about or alluding to, I am actually holding men more responsible for it than women overall.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. It's us that have created the downslide.
I've often thought about that too, right? Because there's this concept. There's this concept in the like the red pill space, that like women sort of like almost totally operate on their monkey brain. That's not fully accurate, guys. but that's sort of like the implied idea that women totally operate on their monkey brain and instinct. And I think a lot of that comes down to women are sort of more feelings based, so they sort of act more based on feeling than being rational. There's plenty of guys that react and act based on their emotion instead of being rational. So that's not necessarily a fair statement. But what you'll see is that women they do operate more on their, I guess I would say their instinct when it comes to sexual dynamics, way more than guys do. And guys have been very easily programmed to be, these blue-pilled idealistic guys. And so I think they are more susceptible to this sort of influence because of media and the way they portray relationships in movies and TV and stuff like that. And we are the ones that, I guess you could say, love the real love. We experience real love. So I think over the last, say 60 years, guys have been more influenced to lean towards the female imperative, and women still operate more with their natural programming. And so that's where you see a lot of, divorces and cheating and all this kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff, not the divorces per se, but like the cheating and stuff like that has sort of always been there, as long as the guy couldn't, provide the qualities, the alpha beta qualities that women sort of need in a long-term relationship. But before the 60s, men were encouraged to be men,
Yeah, they were.
So I think it was less of an issue than it is today, because we've totally just fallen in line.
Men are more apologetic now for what they are. They almost apologize for what they are. And and I was close to falling into that category myself. I would say
it's because you're a college professor.
Well, yeah, I guess. Okay, yeah. But thankfully before that, I've managed to cling on to my identity, and I've separated what is my opinion, and I kind of I have the kind of strength to sort of, even in this far radical sort of environment where they do push this kind of agenda. I'm able to kind of draw the line, and I'm just like, right, okay, that's your ideology. My opinion has got nothing to do with that, and this is me, and this is how I perceive life to be, and I'm walking that way. And I even amongst me and my partner, love her to death, but she'll say some things that I come up with. She'll say, "Oh, that's misogynistic. That's women hating." I'm like, okay, cool. If you think that, I honestly don't care. I've got my reasons for thinking it. I'm going to think it. I can't deny what I perceive to be true. I cannot deny that, and I won't deny that.
I would say, is that misogynistic? And then I would slap her on the ass.
Yeah. That's well, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Whatever. I don't care. I am what I am. Not enough men are like that now. Okay. They feel they kind of have to fall in line and apologize for things that, quite frankly, they really don't.
They don't. Yeah, absolutely. So going back to like how we have single mother households, schools are primarily taught by women. One thing that I wrote down here is that women are taught to be more masculine now, right? Yeah. They're taught to to essentially be defective men.
Yeah, and they're terrible at it.
They're not very good at
it. Most of them are terrible at it, mate. Yeah.
That's where you get all these boss women, Yeah. They're boss bitches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, in the workplace, some of them do a fantastic job. and I work with plenty of women who are, in higher positions than me, and I'm not intimidated. I don't feel insecure by them. Actually, I think no, they're great. They're great. They're great at their jobs and whatnot. The women that I know on a more personal level that have gone up further into these positions, I'm going to say it. They're not as happy as the women are who are kept past a certain age. They're not as happy. There's a significant difference. Yeah, that's undeniable. There's only a select few that are outliers, and there's always outliers. So,
yeah, that makes sense. It's funny too, because you always see you always hear these women too that are boss women. They're like, oh well, I'll be feminine for the right guy. Can you imagine guys saying, I'll be masculine for the right girl? Like that doesn't work the other way around.
Well,
like,
yeah, but see, once again, this is a curse of our own design, right? It's a curse of our own design. Because why is that? Let's look into that for a moment. Because all right, that is a natural double standard that without a doubt does exist. Look at the guys on social media. What are they doing to these women that are uploading all these beautiful photos of themselves? They've got their tongues out. They're
sending $500 super chats. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go. Can you honestly blame the women?
No, not at all.
No.
What's funny too is I just got in trouble yesterday too. There's this female creator named Torsha that just got really pissed at some stuff that I said on this group show called The Dragon Ship. Yeah. And I was actually trying to compliment her. I said, she, takes it upon herself to do her own research on red pill stuff. She's very motivated to do that. And I said, but, her appeal and, a lot of it is because of, her boobs and simps. And it wasn't a knock. I wasn't supposed to be knocking on her, but she got really pissed about it and did a whole video. And I was just like, that's funny. I'm really good at pissing off female creators.
Yeah, well, there you go. So do you know what I mean? That's a point to go in there with comment sections on things, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people live and die by that now. Yeah, they think that that's the road to showing competency.
Right. Oh, by leading with their wallet and spending money. They're like, hey, look, I'm able to spend $500 super chat on you, honey. It's like, bro, she's not gonna sleep with you, man. Like
she is more likely to sleep with the guy who says, do you know what? You're not all that great looking. I've had better. See you later. Yeah. Do you know what? She'll respond to him more. She'll be hung up on that comment more. I'm not saying that men should do that. All right. I'm not saying be disrespectful, but I'm just saying that is a significant difference in dynamic to what they believe to be. Yeah. So you have to give women a reason to be interested in you. You've got to show competency in a different way. You shouldn't go around disrespecting them. You also shouldn't be putting them on a pedestal, because quite frankly, what are these women doing that are so great on there, rather than just showing off how good they look? I mean,
most of them, yeah.
Exactly. And one of my rules that I go by in life is that all women are as ugly as each other. Okay?
Oh, right. Yep.
I would say all men are ugly as each other, but guess what? I'm straight. So sorry, girls, if you're watching this. My attention tends to be more on women than it does in guys. I'm not gay. All right. So there you go. Yeah.
No need to say sorry for that. So getting back to the topic though of destroying relationships, we sort of alluded to this at the beginning, right? Is this all by design?
Yeah.
And you said near the beginning of the show that you think this is all sort of a plot for depopulation.
Yeah.
Now, I found an article on Fox where Mark Levin was talking about how liberalism, and feminism is a tool of liberalism, which is a tool of essentially socialism. It's designed to destroy the nuclear family so that they can be better controlled, so that the population can be better controlled, not necessarily to depopulate, but it could have like maybe that's sort of both what they're trying to do, right? It's a two-part problem that they're trying to solve. And so one of the things that he was doing was he was reading from the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. And Marx referred to it. It's an actual strategy that they have. And Marx referred to it as the abolition of the family. And he said, social education, or also known as public education, is a part of the Communist Manifesto playbook, right? Because if you take kids out of the home where parents are teaching your kids, because moms used to be stay-at-home moms, they could do that. They could teach their kids. Now most parents can't do homeschooling because you got both parents working and stuff, right? So you put them in this, basically concentration camp all day where they're just indoctrinated in, whatever the powers that be want them educated with. And so then you have this whole group of kids that are growing up just sort of brainwashed by the system. And the best way to change a society, according to Marx, was to destroy the family. Mm-hmm. So they're succeeding at this, and I think one of the things too that you see is our family court system. Family court system is really designed, I think, to stick it to men so much that men are now realizing that there's not a big benefit in getting the government involved in their relationships anymore. And which, in turns is like people don't even want to live together anymore, No.
So there is an elephant in the room in all of that, where there's a hole in the plan, a hole in the logic. Okay, now let's just take into account what we've just said there, right? Mm-hmm. This agenda is being pushed left, right, and center. Okay, we can all agree on that. Now we've got some people saying that it's all designed to control. My question is, who's going to be around to control it? Because unless these people are immortal, they're going to die. And odds are, as we just said at the start of the show, these types of people are less likely to go on and have kids than the traditional nuclear family is. So who produces more of the future? It's the select people that stay with the original power dynamic between the masculine and the feminine, and they go on and they have the nuclear family. They're the ones that are going to survive. They're the ones that are going to have legacy. So the world will start, it will turn around like that, and it will start again. That's what will happen. I think, because guess what? Everyone who's got an extreme liberal view of the world, a radical liberal view of the world, to the extreme points of what we've been speaking about, less of them are likely to go on and reproduce. Significantly less, way less. Yeah. So, where are they going to be?
Nowhere. I've talked to several people on these types of subjects, right? A lot of people say that, you've heard the term, good times create weak men create bad times create strong men, whatever. So I've heard some people say that they think that, we're at the point now where we've got so many weak men that the pendulum's about to swing back.
It is. Yep.
I don't know. Rollo, I've talked, I've brought that up in I think super chats on his show, and he's like, no, there's no pendulum. It's there's only this way forward, right? Maybe. I was on a podcast. I was a guest on a podcast, an Arab podcast, and that guy was saying that he thinks that in order for all this stuff to change, we need to have a full societal collapse, so the West, because a lot of this is Western countries doing this kind of crap. You don't see any of this stuff in a lot of Eastern countries, and that's why there's all these passport bros out there. They're like, oh, if you want, quality women, you got to go overseas and stuff like that. I think there's plenty of quality of women around here. Just guys, watch too much Fresh and Fit. And not to knock Fresh and Fit, those guys are cool, but you know what I mean? They're not all Miami sluts. No. So, but yeah, I mean, if there was a total societal collapse, who would be in charge? I think it would be these powers at B that would be in charge.
Guess what? Nothing's going to change. It's going to be the men at the top, and yes, the men, not the women. I'm sorry, girls. It's not going to be the women. Ever, because the guys at the top won't let them be. They're not going to let them, and they're always going to have the edge. So there you go.
What do you think about sort of going off on a side topic, but I guess it's kind of related, but what do you think about women in politics, like female politicians?
If they're good at it, all the more power to them. I would be just as happy having a woman run this country as I would be a man, you know. And I know that I've said that men are always going to be at the tip top pulling the strings behind the show, and yeah, do you know what they are? But I don't necessarily consider that to be neither good nor bad. That's just reality. So yeah, some women are good at it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of like the oil rig workers situation, right? If they want to go out there and be oil rig workers, then more power to them.
Yeah. Well, look, you know, and so I'll throw this out there as well. We have this debate all the time. The courses I run at the university, I won't give away all the personal details of it, but one of the agendas that they have a look at the amount of male to female students that we recruit and whatnot, because once again, it's all about numbers and identity and stuff. I personally could not give a damn if every single one of my students was female. I honestly couldn't care. I look for better quality of students because it makes me look better. You know, if a load of people graduate from the course that I'm running or the courses I'm running, and they go on to get jobs and they say, I was taught by this guy at this university, guess what? Good for them, good for me. I don't care what gender they identify as. I don't care what sex they are. Okay, I care about the things that matter, and those are the things that matter in life.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So, have we touched on what can be done to reverse this at all?
No, and I think that is something we should definitely get onto because I cannot stand just being one of those people that complain about a problem and never come up with a solution. So yeah, okay. I'll kick it off with this little snippet, and here's my solution. Every woman watching this, every guy watching this, if you want that key one-to-one relationship, monogamous relationship that has the potential to become a family and legacy, you need to stop looking at media, stop basing your ideals off things that you see on TikTok, online. You need to make friends with people that have the lifestyle that you desire. Okay, not follow people on Instagram, actually make friends with people that have the lifestyle that you desire, get to know them personally, and have a look for the consistencies. What are the things that all those people do? Okay, and logically base your life decisions around that. That goes for guys and girls. If you do that, you're much more likely to succeed. Coach Jake Maddock, shout out to him. He says it best, go where the winners go. And that's completely true. A lot of people tend to bathe with other people that are in the same form of misery as them because it gives them temporary comfort and numbers. It's actually the completely wrong thing to do. Girls in particular, if you're watching this while you're young and still fertile, for God's sake, do not follow that advice. Get friends who have the lifestyle that you want and you aspire to. Okay, do it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point that you bring up. I'm a student of Bob Proctor's, right? He's kind of a law of attraction guy, but he talks about if you have a goal, right? You want to get to a certain place, and let's say you want to be, wealthy, and you want to, drive around in a Lambo or whatever. That's not everybody's goal. I don't care to have a Lambo.
Me neither.
I'd be afraid I'd get it scratched and it cost me $10,000 to get it buffed out or something, so like doesn't never appeal to me to do that. Right. But if that is your goal, then yeah, you got to find people that are already doing it and, mentor with them, like pick their brains and just be like it basically follow their formula because their formula got them there. And if one guy can do it, another guy can do it, So get a mentor, get a coach, read a book, if someone that's already done something that you want to do has written a book, just go buy their book. It's like $20 usually, if that, and just follow like what they've done to success. And if you just model it, don't just LARP, don't just read it and say that's a good concept and then continue doing your normal crap. But if you try practicing what they're talking about, like you'll definitely be able to go a lot further. So I've heard that there's a lot of wealthy people, like really wealthy guys, like powerful guys, like almost all of them are married, Do you think there's something to that? I would never, I could do an LTR without getting the government involved. I'm totally down with that, but
there's all kinds of things that people say behind that, don't they? I think the main reason for that, well, there's several reasons for that, but what's the saying? They say behind every great man's a strong woman. That is, that's
Yeah.
almost a complete lie in almost every single case. There are a couple of exceptions for it. One of them is Michael Bisping, the former world champion MMA fighter. His wife was the backbone of him. She stayed with him through thick and thin. She met him when he was absolutely broke, when he was nothing, and he was sleeping in a car, and they were borrowing money off their parents. Okay, so she was an exception. For the most part, this is how it goes. Man goes through hell and high water, becomes very, very successful, highly competent, gets good knowledge. Then said women choose him. And then he goes, okay, I'm going to date a few. Okay, this one, I'm getting on with the best. We have the best connection. Bam. That's how it happens. It's a two-way thing. It's a two-way thing. It's not how, modern day society would have you believe from that front. And those two people are both incredibly competent. All right. And that is why they kind of have a trust in each other. They trust each other's competency. They work really, really well as a team. All right. There's no fundamental flaws. And those people, all right, I think typically make marriage work. If there's anything short of that, I think marriage in this day and age is a total bloody disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that it's usually just like you said, it's the guy that has the vision, the guy, and this is how it should be, right? This is what makes you a more attractive guy is you have a vision, you have a purpose that we like to throw that around in the men's space, right? You have to have a purpose that you're working on. And then women will want to join your lifestyle, right? A lot of guys do it the wrong way, right? They try to do all this stuff to impress women. They get the woman, and then they stop working on their purpose. They make her their purpose, and then everything falls apart. They start doing the whole happy wife, happy life thing. And that's no. You guys, you got to focus on your purpose. She's there to join you and maybe support you. But if she's not supporting you, get rid of her, man. But you're focused on this purpose no matter what.
Yeah, you have to be, and you've got to be competent at that. Because if you're not competent, you'll lose to another man. You will. All right. So some women cringe when they hear this, guys. And this is another reason why you've got to be careful if you are raised by, a single mum, where you get a lot of your information from. You need to make friends with men who have the lifestyle that you aspire to be like. You have to. And, most of them will tell you the same thing. They will say, look, there's no sympathy cards. There's no handouts. You have to be competent. Every single woman that has rejected me and rejected you, you lost to another man. Almost every time you lost to another man. Every woman that you've been successful with, all right, you beat another man. Okay, you won. All right, it's like that. I know it sounds cringy to some people, but that is the reality of the situation. Okay. So.
Yeah, no, it's facts, and you can't get hung up on it either. You can't get hung up on it either. Well, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about this topic, man. What's your prediction, man? Do you think we'll ever turn this thing around, or do you think we're just going to we're on a highway to hell and there's no turning back?
I don't think we're on a complete highway to hell. I think we will turn it around. I think the world population numbers are going to come down for certain, 100%. Not necessarily a terrible thing. I don't think it's going to absolutely plummet. I think the kind of modern agenda of men and women being the same, I think that's going to die. I think that will die within the next 100 years. Probably maybe not in our lifetimes, but eventually it's for sure going to die. Certainly here in the UK as well. I've said this several times. I think Eastern Europe is actually going to take over the UK, and they still have a very traditional mindset. A lot of them are coming over here. They got better work ethic. They have children nice and young. They've raised strong families, strong men, feminine women, blah, blah, blah. They're fruitful. So I think they're going to take over by default. So there you go.
All right. Sounds good. Professor Sanderson, do you want people to find you online?
Yeah, I do. Go for it.
Okay. Where can people find you online, man?
Find me on TikTok, Arabian Viking.
Arabian Viking. Dude, I haven't been... I post on TikTok, but I don't stay on TikTok anymore. No. Because I'm in such a crushing shadow ban that my views don't if they break 300, I'm like, that's a good one. But most of my views on TikTok are only 50, 100. Oh, dude, it's so bad. Dude, they've got me so suppressed on there. There's these, TikTok gurus that talk about growing your account. And one of them was like, look, people always ask me, hey, am I shadow banned? He's like, the only way to tell is if you go in your analytics and you look at who's viewing your videos. If you've got views from the For You page, you're not shadow banned. So I was like, okay. So I went into one of my views. Nothing's going to the For You page. They're not pushing me anywhere anymore. So I'm like, this app is basically dead for me. But so have you been posting a lot of content? I guess that's really where I'm going with this. Are you posting a lot of content lately, or?
Not lately. I'm looking to do so again. I've got to be a bit careful with it because last time I posted content, I had a load of women comment some quite charming things on there, and my partner saw it. My partner saw it, and she was like, "No, I don't like the internet."
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah. I don't think my girlfriend likes likes the hate I get from women. Like I told you about that the video from yesterday with Torsha and stuff like that. I was laughing about it. I sent it over to my girlfriend. My girlfriend was really pissed about it. and she was like, "What?" She's like, "She's acting like a child right now." And I'm like, "Well, she's in her emotions. That's what women do." So
yeah, but see, well, there you go. That's a sweet thing, and I'll say the same to mine because I'm not talking bad about her. I actually love that about her. That's a sweet thing. So me and you have sweet things going on. That means they care. They're showing it in a different way to the way we show it. That's what we want. So
yeah,
good.
Feminine women. A+.
Exactly.
A+. All right, brother. I'm gonna put you backstage, and then we can wrap after this broadcast ends, and then I'll just close out real quick, and then we'll chat here in a minute. So hang tight. All right. Okay, guys. There you have it. We might not be going to hell in a handbasket. I don't know. That might be hopeful. We'll see. All you can do, though, is think globally and act locally, right? Like worry about your own relationships. That's all I have for this episode. Tune in tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm hosting Rule Zero this week. And we're going to be talking about how UK teachers are planning re-education programs for kids that have been brainwashed by Andrew Tate. Should be a fun discussion. Other than that, catch me on my socials. All of those, the links are in the description. Follow me on Instagram, please. And join the Patreon to support the show. Other than that, I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.